Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. Today, I want to talk about the concept of progress and how I think it's even more important for us as entrepreneurial women than big, sexy, shiny end results. And don't get me wrong, I love that I am making my biggest cash year yet this year. That's super exciting, right? I love when I sell out a launch. I love when I smash a book launch, right? However, there's something amazing about a big, audacious goal that you thought was so impossible. You're like, oh my gosh, I kind of believe I can do this, but also I'm going to be so impressed with myself if I do. And when you see markers of progress towards a big, scary goal, there is nothing like the thrill and the rush. And the thing is, you have to train yourself to feel thrilled and rushed at those micro wins. Because otherwise, I think, I talked about this before, but we set ourselves up for goals that are safe if we're afraid of failure, right? Or if we're, entrepreneurship is filled with micro failures and lessons. And I tell all my clients, most of my goals in my business, I don't meet. I set them higher than I need to help me reach for that. But I'm also not making myself wrong if I don't meet it, right? I talk about this in my book, the visual of that archers, what's it called? The circle thing that people shoot, target. It's called a target. If our target is, 100 people to our conversion event and we're shooting for that and we meet it, we're like, okay, got 100. If we set the goal of 500 and we're like, okay, well, in order to get 500, I'd really have to do this and that and show up a little bit extra and play with some Facebook ads and all these brave things, right? Then even if we don't hit our goal of 500, we might go for 215. And I would celebrate the 215 more than the 100 because you stretched, you tried, you did your best. And I really see this concept of progress as the same way as being able to, for me, when I set myself a big goal, I know that I need to, on the back end, celebrate the small wins to get there. You guys know in the daily check-in I check in 5 areas, as much as I can, but ideally every day in my business, right? And one of those areas is my wins. And I try to sit down every day and ask myself, what did I do well? What did I do right? Right? As an entrepreneur, we're ambitious. We're always going to be thinking about what's next. Where am I sucking that I can improve? Instead of, yeah, but what did I do right? What did I do well? What can I celebrate myself for? And I've really trained my brain to see the small steps and the micro wins. And the cool thing about that is we make progress faster when we're feeling good about ourselves, right? And so as you're seeing for me, let's say you're working on a launch and you're working on filling 10 people in a group program, right? Some of the wins that you might want to celebrate is I, went on Facebook Live and I showed up and sold my program even though I was nervous. I sent 5 invites. I don't know if they're going to say yes or no to hop on a discovery call with me, but I sent those invites, right? I hopped on a discovery call today and I showed up and I listened and I served and I sold my program. I don't know if she's going to say yes or no, but I did my best and I'm celebrating that. And that's my win. We need to make sure that we're celebrating the micro actions, but that we're also celebrating the things we have control over. Right? I'm a big fan of getting locked in on a goal. I want to have 20K in my savings account. I want to have 10 people in this group program, but not being locked in on where the money comes from exactly. Not being locked in on which of these people that I'm pitching are going to convert to my group program. And I think we have to start, number one, celebrating the micro actions, but celebrate the things we have control over, right? And for me, when I see progress, maybe it's not even that someone signs up for your program, but maybe it's that you get a lot of positive responses to an email, or, someone doesn't sign up, but they say, you know what, this is so good. I want to join next time, right? celebrating those small things. And I was reminded of this because I think I told you guys I set a goal at the beginning of the year to be able to do the splits. And you stretch for a few months and then I kind of injured myself. And so I took a break for like 6 months. And I was like, I'm just going to rest. And then as I picked this goal up back a few weeks ago, oh my goodness, I started making really big progress and it kind of shocked me. And honestly, that progress was more satisfying emotionally than if I would have done the splits. And I already honestly feel like even if I don't get the full splits this year, I don't even care because I made way more progress than I thought was possible. And it's also gratitude because I thought when I kind of hurt myself, I was like, oh, this is forever done. But coming back to it and being like, there is progress. I am further on my splits this year than I started out the year. And that's all that matters to me. And I think some of you are screwing yourself in your goal because if you don't hit your goal in this certain amount of time or in this certain way, right, then you're making it wrong, right? For me, I'm like, I made progress. And what that's going to do, that's going to keep me in the game for the next 2 months of the year. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. Maybe it'll take me a year and a half. I don't really care. Something about me is I am so audacious about my goals, but I'm very gentle with myself. And I'm very much sometimes life happens, but I'm still going to work towards it, but I'm not going to punish myself if I don't hit this goal in a certain amount of time. You guys know in my book, I also have this visual of this race, right? And I'm a big fan of working towards a goal for 90 days. But whether you hit your goal in 90 days or 70 days or 150 days, who cares? The point is to hit the goal, right? And I think sometimes we get so stuck on a timeline. And I really think the manifesting powers that be love when we detach from the timeline and love when we detach and love when we just trust and say, yes, I want this thing. Yes, I want it yesterday, but I'm also going to show up until it happens. So I say that to say this year, think through the goals you had and think through the micro wins. And think for me, the micro wins are people don't see them. No one's going to know wow, Anna's 2 inches closer to her split. Yay. Right? They're not sexy to the outside world, but they're sexy to us. Right? Maybe for you, you're working on selling out your group program and you were really nervous because you were afraid of what other people would think of you to be posting bravely on social media. That is, to me, just as important of a win as selling out your program because it is those behind the scenes brave actions are actually what get us the big sexy results. Not just the results don't just happen. They happen because of all these brave things we do. And yet those things are the things we don't give ourselves credit for. You have to celebrate those in your daily check-in and you have to share those with your girlfriends. I have 2 good girlfriends that we Vox all the time. And we always share these type of things with each other. I'm really proud of myself for processing this hard thing that happened or doing this thing with my kid, or it doesn't seem like a sexy or glamorous win, but for me, I know it was a quantum leap and just really owning that, right? And I feel the more we celebrate the progress, the more we celebrate the micro wins, the more we celebrate what we can control, that's where we start making these external wins faster. It's where our business starts growing. We start making more cash. We start signing more clients, right? Because we're focusing on the things we can control. We're focusing on the journey, right? When we're staying engaged in the journey, we're more likely to get to the end of the road. Right? If we're engaged in that process and we're, quote, enjoying the journey, we're enjoying the small milestones, right? It reminds me of going on a big hike. Maybe you're going on an 8-mile hike and you're like, I made it a mile. I'm proud of myself. Oh, I made it 4.2 miles. I'm proud of myself, right? I don't know about you, but I have a treadmill in my backyard. I am not a natural runner. And so when I run, I celebrate every single time that treadmill clicks over to 0.1 of a mile, right? It's 7.4, 7.5. I'm like, yes. And not that I'm running 7 miles. It's more 1.2, 1.3. You know what I mean, right? And I'm like, yes. Yes. And I really, for some people that might be discouraging, but for me, it's encouraging because I'm I did one more. Reminds me of when I teach a fitness class and we're in the section of push-ups and I tell the girls okay, we've got 10 seconds left. How many push-ups can you do? You know yourself. Is it just one more that you're going to try to do one more push-up for these 10 seconds? Or can you do 10? The point is that you know yourself and you know what you need to do and focusing there. How can you get to your next best? Okay. I hope this was useful for you. I would love to hear from you. Your homework is to email me back and to let me know think through this last year. What are some of the micro wins that you're proud of yourself for? Maybe it's along some of the bigger goals you have, but maybe it's around some of the goals you didn't even have, but things just happened in your life. Like, what are you impressed with? What are you proud of yourself for? You guys know I'm a big fan at the end of the year of listing your 10 wins. I think we put so much pressure on exercises like end of the year reflections. Literally for me, my end of the year reflection is writing 10 wins. Like, what are 10 things I did this year that I'm proud of myself for? That's it. It takes like 5 minutes, but we don't want to do it because guess what? We don't want to be kind to ourselves. We'd rather beat ourselves up and say like, oh, look at all the things that went bad this year that I didn't show up for. But the cool thing about looking for the good and finding the good is maybe when you're writing that list of 10 things you did good this year, maybe you'll get to like 2 and be like, oh, there's literally nothing else. But when you force yourself 5, 6, 7, often by the time my clients get to 10, they keep going. And then they list 15 things that went good this year that they're proud of themselves for. Progress. That's why I always say, like, it sounds silly, but when my clients sign their very first client or, fill their very first group coaching program, or like I always say, like, celebrate the heck out of that because it sounds cheesy, but you never really get those moments back. And you have to really celebrate those small, tiny things that are really a big deal. You're a big deal. You're doing a good job. With the current circumstances in your life, you're doing the best you can with what you have in front of you. As you know better, you're doing better. But with what you know today, you're doing your best. With what you knew 6 months ago, you were doing your best. Be easier on yourself. Be gracious on yourself. Be kinder to yourself. Be more ambitious, but be kinder. Be more patient. Be more loving. I think that's also what a gift my parents gave me is they really gave me so much love and unconditional acceptance. And I know that, maybe if that's not something you had growing up, that might be something that you're having to heal and fix now. But I just think in business, my clients that are getting the best and fastest monetary results and really exploding, they're able to embrace the duality of having these big, audacious goals, but also lovingly accept themselves where they're at, no matter if they meet their goals or not, whether they surpass their goals or whether they go under their goal, or that doesn't matter. You are worthy. You are special. You are beautiful as you are outside of your business, right? Our performance quote in our business has nothing to do with our value or worth. You never have to prove that. I love you so much. If you want, share all 10 wins with me. If you want, take a second now because otherwise you're not going to make the time, right? Maybe you want to pause this episode right now, write down 10 wins that you're proud of this year. This exercise is also easier if you do what I say and you do a daily check-in every day. Because for me, at the end of, I do my little daily check-in and I write my wins every day. We're pretty close to that. And then at the end of the month, I kind of write my top wins for the month. And so it's really easy for me to do my summary because I just look at my top wins from each month and I kind of collect them. But if you're not in this habit yet, another thing you can do is go back through your photo roll and look at the places you went to, the things you did, the things you accomplished. You can look through your Google Drive. You can look through your emails, right? Do a little detective work because you've probably forgotten some of the epic, amazing things you did this year, and I want you to be proud of it. Okay, sending you so much love. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.